So,
Sweet.
this little guy is a resource harvester.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm seeing it. He's got his little claws. He's ready to grab some diamonds.
Yep.
Space diamonds.
That's the fighter ship right there.
Nice. It looks like it would only be able to fire forwards.
Yes.
That's an interesting mechanic. That means if it gets too close to something, or it might not be able to, like it might be able to fire while moving, but it would only shoot straight forwards. So it's really dumb.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Yep. Then over here we have the shield ship.
It looks like it would be fast.
Yeah. Maybe. I think it would make sense if and I put some time and I made a cool front side there.
That definitely looks like it would reflect comets. That's the first thing that pops into my head when I see that kind of surface.
Yep. And then the mothership over here. It's fairly nondescript. But,
no, it's perfect. Like the level of toy spacecraft to simplicity ratio is like perfect.
Yeah, and there's volumetric lights.
Oh, those are volumetric. Nice.
Yeah.
I think volumetric lights is going to make this action scene really be fun to play with, especially because of space fog. So like when you start to see the lights from the action, you're naturally going to be attracted to that part of the screen visually, and so that what am I trying to say? Like the movement of the game will be pronounced by the volumetric lighting.
Yep.
Sweet. Cool, dude.
Give me a sec.
So what I did was I worked on the locomotion system. I felt like it was really important to be able to move around in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm currently stuck on this vector math stuff. Basically, when you grab the scene and twist it and move it. I didn't want to move the scene itself because we have rigid bodies and things might be messed up if we do that. So I wanted to move only the camera.
Right.
So I figured out that it's basically just a math problem of figuring out when you start the grab, you have a vector of a direction and a magnitude. And then if you move your hands around relative to each other or relative to the starting grab position, that vector changes, and you just have to translate that delta vector onto the camera. And I pretty much understand how it works, I think, but I have not gotten it to work in the scene. So that's where I'm currently at.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, I figured you'd have some background tough, mathy stuff to do.
Well, if there isn't anything tough and mathy to do, I'll find it. But I think that's honestly the hardest part of getting this to work. I didn't really think how hard it was going to be, and I looked for some packages, but I could not find any drop-in packages that had this. So
yeah,
I'm just going to write it.
Cool.
And yeah, after figuring out the vector math, it should be pretty straightforward. The other mechanics we talked about, I think, are relatively simple to do. Yep. So I'm expecting once this hurdle is done that we can make more progress on the simpler things.
Cool. So while you're, stewing on that, I'll build so we have a sample scene here, kind of that I've been working with.
Yeah, this looks great.
Yeah, I like this. I was thinking more abstracted background, but I think given that that there's not that much color, having some color in the background is kind of nice. Also, I'll build a sample scene so that I can so I'll have sample animations just to figure out how quickly things could move. and like I'll do that with the asteroids as well.
That sounds good. Another sample scene you could make, if you were so interested,
Uh-huh.
is to make a single frame, a freeze frame of a mid battle between two different races, because then we could
Yeah.
see what that's going to look like versus colors. So it looks like this color is kind of yellow. So if the other
Yeah,
color was like red or something,
so what I did, and this is just my first thought, is uh, I gave each kind of ship a distinctive color. So the harvester is yellow, the attack ship is red, the mothership is green, and the shield ship is blue. I mean, they're still mostly gray, but that way, like
okay,
out
different
of the
trims.
out of the corner of your eye, you can kind of tell what's what and where things are going.
So this represents 4 players.
No, no, it's just basically you as a player, uh, out of the corner of your eye, you say, like, all of these belong to one player. It's just that, like, imagine there's a lot going on, right? So, in order for things to be simpler, so that you can see things and understand, okay, this is this, that's that. The idea is there will be like different trim highlights to show what kind of unit you have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get it, but I would
Yeah.
argue that we're really good at seeing patterns. So like when I glance at these ships out of the corner of my eye, even I kind of already know which one is which.
Yep.
I'd rather they all be my color and then the enemy be a different color of trim. But
Okay.
well,
Yeah.
we have to try different things to figure out because if there's a
Yeah.
bunch of ships on this on the
I
scene,
think that makes sense. I think additionally, so I have the same color. It's funny. I was pointing. I have the same color exhaust on all of these ships, and I think changing the exhaust color on the enemy would also be a good idea. You know.
hmm,
Yeah, but I definitely agree. I think I have zero strong feelings about that one way or another. So what I'll
okay,
do when I'll just build that sample scene with a battle going on, and we can uh, we'll just see how we feel.
sounds good. I really like the way these ships look and the trim colors. I think
Yeah,
it's a good combination of like mostly gray, a little bit of trim. It seems to capture that kind of old school, cool RTS style, like the feeling I get when I have little ships that are mine that I can control.
right.
It's really hitting home for me.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, I you mentioned Red Alert, Command and Conquer Red Alert,
Oh
and
man, that was the first RTS I ever played. Well, I played the first Command and Conquer, and then Command and Conquer Red Alert was the second.
yeah,
Man, that I was like, God, 12 or 13, 12, I guess, when I played that game.
yeah,
Um,
I remember it.
yeah, so such good memories. I still remember. This is how old I am. Like when I was in a neighborhood with like a typical suburban neighborhood in Texas, and a bunch of my friends in the neighborhood also had Command and Conquer, and so we would play with each other. But we had to use dial-up, and so we were on 14.4 modems. And I remember the transition from 14.4 to 28.8, and it was like double fast, and we are like all psyched about it. And I haven't heard it for a while, so I can't say it to this day. But up until like a few years ago, if I would hear that old modem sound of like, it would give me chills because I figured that we're about to start a battle. Because that sound meant we were
Interesting.
connecting and about to start like a 1v1 or 2v2 in the neighborhood. And
You're
so,
you're you're like Pavlov's Charlie.
sorry?
You're like Pavlov's Charlie
Yeah,
instead of
no,
Pavlov's dog.
it's more like Pavlov's modem,
Yeah,
but
I totally know what you mean.
it's really true. Yeah.
The interesting thing is like whenever I reach the end of a song, I instantly know what song is going to play next.
Oh yeah, that's I have that too.
Yeah,
The playlist flow.
yeah.
Sometimes it confuses me because I'll be listening to a radio or something and I'll expect the next song, but it's different.
Yeah.
And sometimes on the radio they will play the song back to back, and it's like, wait, is this my playlist? No, this is the radio.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sounds.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'll do this, and I'll also be able to figure out, space-wise, like how much space things different, over how much space does the battle take place, and this and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think having a battle scene in a stop frame would give us really a good sense of like this is the scale, this is where things are, this is what it would be like to try to grab one of these ships in mid battle.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep.
Plus, it'll make awesome screenshot.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Okay. Cool.
So let's plan for Tuesday evening.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
If I have any updates before then, I'll go ahead and push them. My only updates now are to a couple of scripts, so I'm just kind of keeping it on my local for now.
Okay. My only other update is right now I'm making curry, and it smells amazing.
Nice.
So.
I just ate steak and eggs, and they had this steak at this store for super cheap, and so I bought like a pound of steak for like $5.
Yeah.
And
cooked it. That is super cheap.
It was super cheap, and I wasn't expecting the quality to be good, but actually it was a T-bone, and the quality is super good. And I just broiled it in my oven, got it to a nice medium rare, and I was only planning to eat a little bit. I ended up eating almost the whole thing.
Yeah.
So good.
One piece of advice, as someone who makes a lot of steak, is before you broil it, put barbecue sauce on. I'm a big fan of barbecue sauce. I don't know about you, but barbecue sauce translates really well to broiling. So.
I think we come from a different family background for cooking steaks. Barbecue sauce on steaks in my family is blasphemous. You're not supposed to do that. It takes away from the flavor of the steak. If you have a bad cut of meat, I guess you could put barbecue sauce and it's going to taste good. And I like barbecue sauce. But I grew up just eating the pure steak, salt and pepper, and that's it. Nothing else.
Yeah. Okay, well, now I'm getting extra hungry. So I'm going to say peace out.
Peace, man. I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Okay. You too. Peace.
Bye.